Mary, tell the people who you are and why you were choosing to be a super soldier.
So my background is I was in 8 years in the United States military, human intelligence. I cross-trained in what was called Special Forces area, which is mostly for women. Special Forces is for men. Now everything is joint special operations. But I was part of the first group that went into the merging of intel groups. That was a mess. But I mean, it worked out, obviously, the kinks and whatnot. So I was put in a secret group called Special Skills Program. That's like the lower level part. And then I graduated the Great Skills Program under Brigadier General Walter Smith, and I was one of the highest level, I would say, assassins. Not, I was one of, there's many of us, like at least 138,000 that I know of. That I don't know them personally, I just know the numbers. So I spent 8 years there, and then my father worked in Area 51. His father, before him, infiltrated Hitler's stronghold general, and the secret that they discovered was that they had all that alien technology, the saucers, and there was a bunch of other stuff there too, that they were working with aliens. A lot of alien bodies were recovered there because of the fight that took place. The dead ones were taken by the U.S. government for studying, obviously, and then all the equipment that was found over there. So my family's kind of been involved in the whole Area 1 thing for a while. I have never been to Area 51 except for a time where I was brought in as a fetal from another time. So I came from 54 AD, before the womb, and was placed into another womb here with my mother here, but she's the only genetic connection to the one that was in the past. So um, a lot of us were brought back during that time, and it was the time of Christ. Again, our Bibles don't talk about the war anymore that's in the Bible. Actually, there is a Bible. It's called the Action Bible. It does talk about the wars. So it's more of a kid's comic book looking one. I just bought the 3 series for my kids. It does have the war in there. So it'll tell you about the war that was going on during the Christ era. Um, and but again, they had the same problem. There was invader races, there was demons, stuff like that, just like what we have today. So it was a reset harvest, and he was trying to not save people, but because people have to really save themselves. So right now, everybody has a choice. You can save yourself, or you could, you know, perish with the rest. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work. Everybody, the Bible talks about a lake of fire, but everybody's like freaking out about Project Bluebeam. All I can suggest is don't get on that plane because, or that, not that plane, that saucer. Doesn't matter how friendly those people are. I mean, they could be the reptilians dressed in a human suit, and they're gonna put you in, cryo energy uh, tubes and ship you off as food to their home planet. So be careful, because you lose your free will the minute you walk onto those.
Mary Beaver, it's so nice to see you. Welcome to your channel. You know this is your channel. Even I didn't see you for a couple of years. I'm so happy to see you back again.
Thank you for having me again. Yeah, sorry I've been MIA. It's been busy. Alien exposures and stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Alienness.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. So I have a rehab tour coming up, the Matrix rehab tour. And so far, to my knowledge, the knowledge that I have, I can't say it's 100% accurate because God knows what else they're hiding, right? I'm going to bring forward like a lot of the information right now. From what I have, there's 200 species of aliens that live among us, and believe it or not, a lot of them look like us. You know, I'm pretty sure there was one at Trump's inauguration doing security. Pretty sure that guy worked for the occupation. They're an alien human race that's been governing over us for I don't know how long, a long time, I would say. They're part of the master reset and everything. So yeah, I have all their names. There's a funny one, Nikki. You'll love this one. So
Wow.
I was going through the list of names, right, in my deep space portal. And I was like, should I do these in alphabetical order? Should I do it by quadrant that they come from? You know what I mean? Just like, how do I organize this? Because there's so much information. It's
Yes.
really hard to just pick a few. You just really can't. So I'm gonna try to do a tour. So I don't want to give it all out on the first tour, right? So I'm just gonna like pick. a few, and I was like, I want to see how many alien names start with the letter Z, right? So I go all the way to the end. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm definitely gonna put it out there. But it's a feline species from space. It's a basic house cat that can communicate with humans. So if you ever like insult your cat and they like attack you, I think those are the alien ones. Yeah, and they made movies. There was movies about alien cats, and they would wear like these fancy collars. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if that's why the Egyptians worshipped these cats because they came from outer space, right? And
Yes.
then they would be buried with their cats. So in the description, 5% of these, terrestrial house cats can actually go through walls, right? So I was like, oh my God, that's genius. These cats are like totally parading around with these pharaohs, and then when they die in the chambers, they just take out all the gold.
Wow. It's amazing.
They just
It's
walk
so
through the
much going
walls.
on. It's so much going on, Mary.
Right. I was like, that has to be. I mean, that's why they're like, oh, we got to the grave and it was already robbed, but how'd those people get in there, right? There
Yes.
was no forced entry anywhere. So I'm gonna guess the cat's like, this is an easy meal for them, right? They're just gonna hang out, be worshipped, and then take off with the king's gold.
And tell me, what did you see at Trump's inauguration? Because there were some really strange people there. How did you see it?
I
Hmm.
don't really know like a lot. I mean, I can see a lot, but I can see a lot that pertains to like the stuff I've been doing the last 2 years. So, um, so in April of 2023, I was approached by some Masons and some Knight Templars, and just not at the same time. Like there was like a 2, 3 week span, right? And one of them gave me a master exit for the trust, right, which is your straw man. So again, for those that aren't advanced enough in knowing what your straw man is, just Google it or YouTube it. It's on there. There's videos. It shows you what a straw man is. So it's your corporate person. And I've been studying it for 20 years, and then here comes the master exit. So I was like kind of stoked. So I'm typing it up. I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. Because we've been in all these patriot movements trying to figure out how they've been, doing all this money fraud against us and stuff like that, and why we're poor and they're rich. And I still didn't, I still hit a dead end because by the time I got to page, I think 4 or 5 of a 6 page document, something didn't feel right. Something still felt like it was missing. And I'm like, God, I'm missing something. So I quit. I stepped back and I was like, well, if I get the inkling to do it, I'll go back to it. Right. And so about 2 weeks later, I won't go through that whole thing. It was a weird scenario with Social Security and a crazy package coming through Social Security. Um, I got another letter or envelope. It was inner office government, but it had all these not Masonic, I'm sorry, Templar stickers and stamps and stuff like that. And I was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with it. Take it away. I don't want it. No, I don't know what it is. Don't want to know what it is. I hate it. Just take it. Eventually, I had to take it. So I took it. And the guy was like, I don't care what you do with it, but I have to give it to you. You can throw it away on your way out, but you have to take it out of my hands. I'm like, so I realized maybe his life was in danger if he didn't deliver this. Um, so I brought it home. I sat on it for like 3 days and finally got curious enough. All right, I'm going to open it. Well, it was the other master document for the treasury, which is your God-given inheritance. And I knew what it was because everybody's been trying to get my treasury, since I was a little kid. And um, mine is the Maria Christina of the Divine Magdalene Treasury. I have the account number. I have how much is in there. I have all of it. And there's a lot of people on the planet that, yes, do have Mary Magdalene DNA. There's a horrible story behind her whole life that people don't know. Um, and that whole era. But yep, she had a lot of children and she lived be about 480 years old. So, locked in a tower, losing her mind. I couldn't imagine why she had demons. She had nobody to talk to. Um, and so I talked to these Templars, uh, and they wanted a favor from me, because they had put these kings, 146 or 148 kings. They call themselves the Kings of Kings. And Alexander, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, some kind of German or Russian last name, or something. But anyways, King Alexander is doing this whole world takeover with the M1 monetary fund nonsense, which is a scam, just so you guys know. It's not a scam, but it's how they're going to take everything from you. So I would back out of it if you're in it. But that's just me, my personal opinion. And I did come out with this in my other videos. Um, so long story short, these Templars wanted me to entertain this revenge story. So they've got these kings in place, right? And these kings were supposed to work for them, not just them, but the Illuminati, the other, like all the secret societies were going to work together to stop the ascension of this time. And that's how they were going to do it, is they split what was called the Book of Life in two. So I didn't know that's what it was at first. I knew it was a master exit, but it got split in two. They did explain it. That 60 to 100 years ago, the Illuminati brought everybody together and said, we don't want people ascending out this time, because then it ends their treaty, it ends their contract. That's what they're doing right now, is trying to write a new contract for the next 1,000 years of our imprisonment. So, and we don't know about it, and we're supposed to know about it. We're supposed to be given the time to get out of it. So what they're doing is they're trying to give people the half of the book to get halfway out, but not all the way out. And those are the half they're going to keep. The rest they're going to process off, right? The useless eaters, as they say. So I said, okay, I don't usually entertain, revenge stories because it never ends well anyways. But I said out on one, and I had to pay the lading. So I was like, here's my payment. If I do this for you, this is what I want. I'm going to put these two documents back together as the one document, and then I'm going to give it to people. And the one guy just flew off the handle. He was just cussing me out. I don't know how many different languages, every bad word you could call a woman. I heard it like for 5 minutes. And the other Templar that's sitting there, he's laughing. These guys are a couple 100 years old. And I'm like, okay, should I hang up? Like, really? You're just going to keep screaming at me? So they finally agreed, because I could feel the energy of the other guy, because again, they can communicate telepathically, and so can I. So I felt him tell the other guy, like, she's never going to get anybody to do it, so just let her do it, right? We just need her. That's it. We need her for the contract to work. And I'm like, okay, I get you. So they agreed, and I got to put the book back together, which was a holy nightmare, because I didn't realize how very spiritual this template was. It took 6 months to get it all together back into one template. I had to update the laws to this time. I had to add it into a treaty, because our world right now runs off of treaties. So I made it a treaty of universal peace, because you do have a lot of hybrids here that don't belong here. They may not even want to be here. So, and if anybody did do it and they wanted to go home, that's your ticket off. That you get to go to the outer world. So, or the gate, whatever you want to call it, the ice wall, all that good stuff. So I put this book back together. It took 6 months. It definitely challenged everything about me. And then I challenged the Kings publicly on 3 different platforms. And I thought for sure these Kings are going to have me assassinated, right? But hey, I'm still here, right? So, and then there was various things that had happened in between. So, but kind of what's been going on is there's a war that nobody can see that involves switching over of the Guardians. So all of the people who are the Guardians now, their contracts have expired. So they're trying to put new people in place. I'm pretty sure they're going to screw those guys over later, like they usually do, and then rule the planet for the next 1,000 years, and then try to do it again, because that's what they've done, consecutively. But this time it's not going to work, because we're in final judgment. So Revelations hasn't even happened yet. Revelations won't start until 2038, because I in the Matrix stuff, I'm gonna reveal a lot of the future Looking Glass history books. I mean, I can't give them the books. I'm just gonna try to print out the verbiage that I have from those books, because that's the one thing I can't give, because it causes something with the space and time continuum to give people actual pages from a history book from the future. So I can take stuff out. And
where we are right now, you said that we are now close to Revelations. So where we are?
So
And
we're in the book of Restoration. Restoration is one of the missing 169 books that we don't get to see. Because if you knew about all the prophecies and you knew about the restoration of the planet before the fall, God gives you a chance to fix it before he has to come in and wipe it out. You know what I mean? I mean, that makes sense, right? We're not going to punish our kid and say, hey, you got to fix this or I'm going to, like, swat your butt. You got to fix it. So that's what we're in. We're in restoration, but everybody else, all the elites are trying to get us to destroy things, including ourselves. So that way, they go out innocently, which they're not, because, the other powers that be in heaven, I wrote a soul contract against them, the cult of Baal. That's the first time I've actually put that out. But yeah, there's a final judgment against all of the elites, all of everybody that is involved in the cult of Baal and all things that go back to Baal, or the God running this world. Not the illegitimate God. He doesn't own the world, but he is running it. And all things that go back to Baal, or the God running this world. Not the illegitimate God. He doesn't own the world, but he is running it.
Mary has so much unique information that she always keeps us updated. Mary, how can a human control a situation when they have been adopted and taken? What do you mean they need a permission?
They can't take you. You have to volunteer. So it could be with the jab, it could be with you just, thinking your heavenly space fathers are coming down to save you. They're going to make it sound heroic, like, oh, we're here to save you from the disaster, right? Because they're going to make you panic so much. Like, there's going to be like firefighting, there's going to be shooting. This was the original plan because they needed you guys to get on the ship. I mean, how do you corral fish, right? If you're a fisherman and you have a net and you want to you use a net, right? You shake up the water to get them all confused and get into the trap.
Do you think one day one will leave and the other will stay, like they say in the movies?
Hollywood.
All I know is that on a free will planet, like we're all inheritors. Okay, we've inherited freedom, but you guys can't see it yet. You want governments to help you, you want them to control you, you want them to set laws and rules, and really you have the right to rule yourself. I'm not telling you to go out and be like a jerk to the police and stuff. Don't do that. That's terrible. You have to get out of the Book of the Dead, which is the Black's Law Dictionary, which is the laws that are over us now. You have to get in what's called the Book of Life. And the master exit that I was given is that book. It turns into a book. And then you can ascend out. Do you have wings? I don't know. I mean, do you have antennas? I don't know. You don't even know what you have because the veils are still very thick on our eyes. We did, I think early last year, there was a soldier who broke the veils on his eyes somehow, and he came home and ended up killing his wife and kids, and then himself after he called a buddy panicking, saying they were all lizards, even his children, and he killed them because he was a military person in the military, and somehow he woke up, like he could see his wife and children weren't human, but the veils over our eyes make everybody look like humans. I'm not saying we aren't all humans, but a lot of us are not humans. So, but we all look human.
Lowell Baldin, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, he said that people don't realize that aliens are here. It's just that they dress in a human dress.
They don't even have to dress. I mean, they do now because, again, a lot of people are pulling the veils off their own eyes. You remember when, like, you had a baby and they put that gel stuff in the baby's eyes? I mean, seriously, we've been on this planet for millions of years. There's no reason to put gel in our eyes when we're born. There's a natural substance that does what it needs to with the eyes, but that gel is the veil, and they put it in your baby's eyes so that way they can't see the truth.
Mary, you said that we have a veil over our eyes and the aliens walk and live among us and that they can go to the supermarket, but what do they look like?
Very
And
nice.
that's okay. It's not their time yet. 9 billion people on the planet can't wake up at the same time. It would cause like an epic disaster. So those that are awake just need to kind of move in another direction away from the ones that aren't awake because you can't wake them up. It's not their time. And the ones that are, I mean, there will be a mass wake up of people, but they have to bring it in. Trump's kind of going a little fast, but you know what? That's okay. We've been trying to do this since 1960. So I think it I think it's going to be okay. I've been talking about the spaceports, I think for a little over a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Because they're open. You can Google them, see where they're at in your country. These spaceports allow you to go off-world. But again, you have to be free of the parasites. You have to be out of the Book of the Dead. Because I mean, just to get a passport, a black passport to get on those ships to go other places like the moon, Mars, and Jupiter, it's $80,000 just for the passport.
Are you telling us that by paying 80,000 bucks, any human who qualifies can get a black passport to leave the planet? For real?
So that could be why Elon Musk is hanging out with Trump, because he's the guy that owns the spaceports. So, from my knowledge, it could be somebody else. He could be the guy down here running it, but another guy out there, being the owner of it. Um, so yeah, he owns the spaceports. So that's why he's like all SpaceX and stuff like that. Um, and a lot of the spaceports are already in the airports, but again, we couldn't see them because they've got these shields. Like we watch all these superhero movies with these covered cities. I mean, what makes you think that there's not a part of the airport that you can't see?
Mary, I remember in previous videos you talk about the birth certificate when a baby is born. You mentioned it. It is like the selling of humans when they come here, like a planet or slavery. Let's talk about that.
Oh, a slave planet?
Yeah. Do I
Oh,
ask?
that's not bright enough. Yeah, we're not a slave planet anymore. We've been eradicated. Um, but there are still interested parties. That there's 1,000 other slave planets like ours. So those who aren't meant to wake up right now will probably be transported to that. And um, that could be the people maybe dying right now. I don't know. I'm not trying to say that's what happened because there's a lot of bad things happening right now. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it was a snatch and grab. So yeah, we're not a slave planet anymore. But if you still have the prison mentality, then they're gonna eventually take those people um, to another planet. They'll erase your memories, give you some script of the holy whatever at that planet, and you'll just redo that story.
Mary, you took me to 2020, the tedious, horrible year where millions die because what did they put us through? However, it say that many people didn't die but were taken off the planet. Is this what they call the human exchange or something like that?
That's what I'm talking about is, yeah, a lot of since 2012, there's no real bodies in graves right now. They've all been transported out.
So to another planets. What about the
It depends on who owned them. So you have to understand that
what about Mary the underground cities? Can you explain us a little bit that too?
the underground cities are part of the underground bases. We also have the underwater, the aqua cities in the ocean and stuff like that. I'll talk about those spaceport or not those spaceports, but those military ports. They're part of the military bases because the military bases have to function. So there's cities around them. Every time you make a new military base, cities pop up. So every time you make an underground military base, cities are going to pop up. So that'll all be at my conference.
I'm sure. I want to ask you about Trump. What is the
Okay.
role? What is the role that Trump has right now? Are we playing this game for real? This is if he's the definitely he's the good guy, but who are the bad guys and with who we are fighting against? Who we are fighting?
You're pretty much fighting the invader races and a race called the occupation. Again, they look like us. They're from a planet called Orin, and they're 12 light years away, and they've been harvesting our resources for a very long time, including our DNA, blood, stuff like that, because they do a lot of what I like to call Frankenstein, body manipulation. It's not a natural um, upgrade, but a forced upgrade, right? So being in the super soldier program, I was genetically upgraded. I have one of the most at its time. Again, I don't know what they're doing right now, but at its time, I had one of the worst DNA upgrades, which was considered the Jaguar upgrade, and so I am a spliced Jaguar DNA. So if I black out, I'm dangerous. And I was in part of the MK Delta programming because the MK Ultra programming is an umbrella program. There's programs within the programs within the programs, and there's levels all over the place. And the MK Delta and MK Alpha were the military um, mind control program. So I was in that program, and I spent probably, to my knowledge, 180 years in space on 5 jumps.
Mary has been talking for years about medbeds, the medical beds, the medbeds technology, and I believe many people still don't understand this technology and its concept. Could you explain it to us in more details?
There's different types of med beds. If you guys go to I want to say the World Google Patent Archives, you'll find a lot of the patents there. You're not going to find them in the United States. They've been moved to the Google World Patent Archive. That's where they hide them. And so again, lots of different types. You have frequency med beds. You have um, oh gosh, I can't remember the titles. You have to excuse me. I had that brain aneurysm, so I'm a little foggy when it comes to talking about the names of things. The crystalline med beds, so crystal energy. Most of the med beds you're going to see are energy frequency and stuff like that. It doesn't heal you to 100%. It just heals you to a really good stage. But you still have to take care of yourself now. You have to try to detox yourself of, the metals and everything else, and you have to detox yourself of the parasites. You have to try to help it along. Now, the ones that people really want are the celestial chambers, and Jared Rand is the one that has those. Um, I was told by the Templars that I would be going to one of the underground bases, which I'm pretty sure it's Area 51. And I did talk to a colonel already in Area 51 regarding that, because it is scheduled for my family and I to go, because we did the Book of Life, so therefore we're no longer slaves. They can't experiment on us anymore. So, um, but I can't say when because I don't have the final date. I'm still waiting for some people to accept my titles or give me the certificate that says, hey, you got your titles. Um, but yeah, the celestial ones are the ones that restore you to the fullest. Like in the space program, I was 5'11". My hair was like red, but it was it was like a real gold color. We look different in our true forms. And again, you could be pink, you could be blue, you could still look human, but you're hybridized. Most everybody on the planet that's not an original DNA. I am an original DNA, so I will not change much in features. Um, just like my height or something. But like we mutate dogs and goats and cows now because cows are micro, right? We've been microed down to manageable humans. Yeah, your DNA tells you. I'm an O blood type, so O is original. Um, A blood type can vary. I know there's a lot of different people out there trying to tell you what they are, but I would definitely wait uh, to see what type you are because it doesn't, you can have an O blood type, but your dominant DNA would be like AB or B or C or whatever. You have a lot of different DNAs. It's just the one that's the most prominent.
Basically, humans are all mixed with different types of hybrids, aliens.
I have an angelic and God DNA. So I got access to my bloodline. And
can you explain a little bit to the people that are watching us right now why angelic blood and where did you came from?
so the angelic bloodline is what the Darwin theory was really supposed to be, not that we came from fish. Um, Creator's plan, I mean, we didn't evolve from fish, but we did we were the original humans were birthed down here by gods and angels. So, but we were bound in our DNA. So we actually are born with 100 strands of DNA, but you're cut down to during the Christ time it was 2 and 5 strand DNA, so you could live in the 2D thinking, because you had to earn your 100% strands. You had to earn your godlike abilities, because all these beings that were born with all their godlike abilities started to abuse them. So it caused problems in the universe and stuff like that. So the reason, okay, so aliens aren't going to come here just because they want to come here, right? There's a reason. Nobody robs an empty house, okay? So why are you so special? Why are they taking our bodies and our DNA and mutating us with their people, right? So what is so special about you? That's the first thing everybody should think. Why are you stealing me? Why is my blood like gold to you? Because we are the children of God. So we're the only planet that has this ability. And for example, there was a guy that said he was an ambassador. A friend of mine, he told me he was an ambassador for a certain group. And try to turn that light back on. And um, he said that and I had mentioned the 3 Jesuses, and he said, no, the 3, 9, and 12, those are lower levels than these guys. And I was like, you need to be careful. Those aliens are going to lie to you. They want you to think that they're more malevolent than the Father's Son. I was like, these aliens that are coming in, they're a trillion generations under God. And we are the direct descendants of God. So here you have God, he's the owner of the world, and then you have Jesus, he's the co-owner of the world, and this did say it in the Bible. It's written in the Bible. We're the co-owners of the world, making us right up there above the angels. The angels are like third, fourth generation from God because you have the Titans. So that's why we're so important to them.
So
If
we
we were really junk DNA, do you think they're going to come down here and bother with us? No.
there we go. Yes. Yeah, yeah, definitely. They're looking for something more than, fast food, So
Right.
yeah. And so we are the child of God.
Mm-hmm.
That means like definitely there's a group, there's a side that is pure, that is a benevolent, that's the good guys, the good, the heaven angels. But at the same time, there's that part that is the evil, and who helping us because I'm sure you said minutes ago nobody going to come and help us. We got to do our homework. That's right. But my question is, who's helping us to go through that situation?
All of them now, because they're all the guardians. They have to help, but they do have the right to take those that aren't ready yet, because they're what you call like new souls. So you're a human down here, but you're not a human having a soul experience, right? You're a soul having a human experience. So the fact that your body was selling it, the soul, that's ridiculous, right? I mean, who does that? So that was the problem, is our souls were being like auctioned off to these demonic bad energies, and that's how they looped us in the reincarnation. So we're free. Okay, we are free on the planet. The problem is we don't remember because of the MK Ultra's multi-general or generational abuse. We can't see the real world. We're stuck in the matrix. So they have to create a new code in order for us to believe that we're being ascended out. But you have to believe it in your heart. If you can't, then you're too young. If this is like your first or second trip, there's a chance you're not going to get out unless God chose you to get out. Because your soul was such a strong soul, you would have made it out naturally without the war. So right now our world is free, but there's new contracts with Creator and the souls that have to go through things. They have to live more lives, good, bad, traumatic. They have to go through all that because you have to understand when you have the power of God, not to abuse it. So you have to be in situations of power, of no power, of abuse, of neglect, of, being beaten up your whole life in order to understand the balance of godlike power. And then when you realize all those stages of those different lives that you've lived on either this planet or the other 1,000 planets that you're going to go through, like this one, then you can get your God powers. And you're not going to go, crazily all over the metaverse destroying things. And that's what happened.
It's Mary Beaver, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for helping us with this awakening of consciousness. Tell us about this conference you will be having. Where will be the first one?
So my first conference is going to be in Northern California. I have it on my webpage if you want to come in person. And then Journey to Truth is hosting my online, and they're going to come to the other one because I was told by the Deep Space Program that I had to give you guys more information. Because again, everybody's kind of stuck on the hamster wheel saying the same thing in a different way. So I have to help people to trigger their memories and help deprogram you guys so you start to remember. It's all in you. You just got to remember. But if nobody tells you, you're not going to glitch and go, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Gotta remember. We gotta remember, Mary Beaver.
Just got to remember. It's already in you.
I would like to see you. I would like to see you in James Ring conference right here in Florida. I think it's October or September. I hope to see Mary Beaver there. What is the second conference that you have for this year?
So I was going to have it in LA, but they're on fire.
Oh my
I think so I had the one here, the one in LA, and then I was going to do one in Vegas, and then we were planning one in New York, and then Texas. So I think I have to take the LA one and move it to the Vegas one, and do like maybe 2 days, like a weekend there, talking about, because I was going to do the medical stuff down in LA. But again, it's all, everywhere I was going to do it was burnt up, and I'm like, that's not really a good place to go right now. So they do have the spaceport stuff opening up in Vegas. So that'll be a good place to do the medical stuff. I was going to bring out the DNA gene sequence, how they spliced us, how they did it, how they created super soldiers. And so that one will be in Vegas. I don't know the actual building yet because, again, you have to book it. And I want to see how the first one goes before I go all out on the Vegas one. So
she's a busy girl. She's going to be here. She always busy. Mary Beaver, we love you and come back. Don't wait so long. We're going
to sorry. I'm trying to save the world and I'm just me.
It's you, honey. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me again. I missed you.